How to build muscle and not fat and not put on fat. How do you just put on muscle mass and forget about adding body fat? We've all entered a calorie surplus at some point, and sometimes when we've entered a calorie surplus, we've put on more fat than we actually did muscle. How does this happen? How do we put on just muscle? Well, a lot of you guys have been asking me about body recomposition, so I thought this would be the perfect video to cover this in depth. All right, and I'm going to basically have 4 points here that will explain to you how to build more muscle and put on less fat when you're in a calorie surplus. Point number 4 is probably the most important, so make sure you stick around for that. All right, let's get into this. So point number 1, you got to plan out your muscle building journey. So what that means is you're going to look at the full year of a calendar and you're going to say, okay, from September till March, let's just say, you're going to spend time in a calorie surplus. So during that time, September to March, you're going to be adding weight. You're going to be in a calorie surplus. You're going to be putting on muscle, and you're going to spend this time as your bulking time or lean muscle phase. Then from March to July, you're going to be in a calorie deficit. You're going to diet off that body fat. And then from July to September, you're going to be in a maintenance phase where you're just maintaining. Just to say that that's what your calendar year looks like. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take that September to March period when you're in a calorie surplus. And what you're going to do is you're actually going to sprinkle in some mini cuts. Now, what is a mini cut? A mini cut is a time when you're actually going from a surplus to a deficit, and you're going to do that in small increments. So I would say about 2-week mini cut is perfect timing. That's enough to take off some body fat, to improve your insulin sensitivity, meaning the way your body handles carbohydrates, and then you go right back into a building phase. And the reason why I like to sprinkle in the mini cuts is because inevitably, when you're in a calorie surplus long enough, you're going to put on body fat. It's just the way it works. You're probably looking to gain about 0.25 pounds of muscle a week, which is minimal. And you're trying to put on you're probably going to end up putting on about the same amount in body fat if you do this correctly. It's just going to happen. But when you go into a mini cut and a calorie deficit, you're going to diet away that fat, but you're going to maintain that amount of muscle that you've built. So the purpose of this is, again, it's twofold. One, kind of clean up the building phase, clean up the way you look, clean up your body composition during the building phase, but also to improve your insulin sensitivity, how your body handles carbohydrates and food. Because when we're in a calorie deficit, our body handles food differently than when we're in a calorie surplus. So that's the first thing. You got to plan out your muscle building efforts, plan time to actually spend in a calorie surplus, and then take that time that you're planning to spend in a calorie surplus and sprinkle in mini cuts here and there. How often is really going to depend on you. You could do 2 weeks every 12 weeks. You could do 2 weeks every 8 weeks. But I would spend enough time in a calorie surplus first and then do a mini cut, again, just like I said, to kind of sprinkle things in and just improve things along the way. All right, so that's point number 1. Point number 2, I don't want you to be in a large calorie surplus. The days of what's so-called dirty bulking are done. There's no reason for you to, okay, I'm in a building phase, so I'm just going to eat everything in sight. That's not good. Now, I'm not saying you can't have your favorite foods. If you want pizza, burgers, or this or that, you can have that as long as you allocate that and fit those into the calories that you're allowed for the day. But if you just go hog wild and say, I'm in a bulking phase, I'm going to eat everything in sight, you are definitely going to put on more fat than muscle. And that's a problem. We need to fix that. So I don't want you in a large calorie surplus. Remember, on average, throughout your lifting career, you're probably going to put on, if you do everything correctly, you're probably going to put on about 5 pounds of muscle a year. Again, just on average. Yes, your first year, you're probably going to put on more. In your later years, you're probably going to put on less. But on average, you're going to put on about 5 pounds of pure muscle mass a year. So you can't put on 5 pounds of muscle in 12 weeks. It doesn't work like that. So the more weight you put on, it doesn't necessarily mean the more muscle mass is going to come on. This is a slow process. So there's no reason to be in a large calorie surplus. So if your maintenance calories is 3,000 calories for the day, you don't need to have 5,000 calories. You're not going to put on more muscle by being in a bigger surplus. What you're going to do is you're going to give yourself the ability to put on more body fat. And we don't want that. We want to avoid that. So Instead, I want you to be anywhere between 300 and 500 calories over your maintenance. All right. And you're going to kind of stay within that weekly zone of how many calories you're supposed to take in. So let's just say, for argument's sake, your maintenance calories is at 3,000 calories. That's what it takes to just maintain. And now we're going to add 500 calories in there for a surplus. So what that means is you're at basically 3,500 or 4,000. I forget the number I just said. I'm sorry. And what you're going to do then is you're going to multiply that by 7, and that's your weekly calorie number. So if one day you go over a little bit, that's okay, as long as you subtract it from the other day. And you'll still be able to stay steady there. So like if a holiday comes or somebody's birthday, all you got to do is maneuver your calories around and you'll be fine. But the purpose is I don't want you in a large calorie surplus. It's not going to be the thing that's going to move the needle for you. It's just going to make you more fat, and you have to diet more later to take that body fat off. Okay. Point number 3, you're going to utilize nutrient timing. Now, when you're in a calorie surplus or a building phase, nutrient timing is more important because your body's going to be a little bit more sensitive to foods during certain windows. So we're going to maximize these windows, and these windows are pre-workout, intra-workout, and post-workout. These 3 windows are very, very important because your body is the most sensitive to food during the day during these times. So pre-workout, you're going to have a good hearty meal, and I've done videos on this before, so just make sure you go back on the channel and look for them, what to eat pre-workout. Then intra-workout, what you're going to do is you're going to utilize more carbohydrates and have an intra-workout shake to help you get in more calories. And again, it'll help you push through your workout, it'll help you finish your workout stronger. Because if you think about it, when you're in a workout, you're doing a workout, you ever notice how halfway through you get like tired, you don't have as much energy as you did in the beginning? Well, if you have an intra-workout shake or something intra-workout, you're going to get a boost of insulin and a boost of energy to finish your workout strong. And then after the workout, you're going to have a meal. So now you're feeding windows, you're utilizing this time the most when your body's the most sensitive to these nutrients, and you're going to utilize more of that food properly. So you got to maximize that window, okay? Now, point number 4, like I said, this is the most important part of this whole video. This is by far, I think, the most important element of this. So point number 4, you need to not cheat, and you need to stay consistent every week. Now, what does that mean? The best bodybuilders in the world, the best guys, the best naturals, the best Olympia competitors, they don't go hog wild in the off season. They don't use this building phase as a time to go crazy. Instead, they stay within their calories, they stay in that small surplus, and they just are consistent. These guys don't miss a beat. If they go on vacation, they're still on. Listen, I'm not saying that you shouldn't take a break from things every once in a while or loosen up. That's okay. That's part of like living. But in majority of it, you're staying within your calorie limit. You're not going over that. And you're not in that dirty bulk state where you're so many calories above where your maintenance is. So again, if your maintenance is at 3,000 and you're having 5,000, you're not going to put on more muscle by having those 2,000 extra calories. Instead, you're going to be fatter in the end. And we don't want that. We don't want that. We're trying to avoid that. We're trying to just put on muscle. So if your goal is to put on muscle, you need to be consistent. A lot of guys will have trouble and they'll be inconsistent with the amount of calories they're taking in. They'll take more some days, they'll take less other days. And just doing that over time is not good. So if you made it this far into the video, congratulations, because these 4 points are so important to putting on more muscle and less body fat. But also, if you made it this far into the video, I have a gift for you. I'm going to give you a free 6-week training program, no strings attached. All you got to do is click that link below and get the program there. No strings attached. I just want to help you to get to that next level. This was Anthony, AB Fitness. I'll catch you on the next one.